Okay, just a quick heads up, I wrote and recorded this video back in August when some of the news was still fresh. Just FYI. Okay, on to the video! So, Disney World has reopened to the public after its longest closure ever, and with this questionable decision comes many posts from cast members and Florida locals of their joy to be back in the parks, and that got me thinking, I really miss Disney. So instead of getting all deep and philosophical, I thought this time we might just sit back and talk about one of Disney's greatest and oldest rides of all time. Pirates of the Caribbean. I love this ride. Every time I go to Disneyland, I ride it at least once every day I'm there. And just as a quick caveat, I have been on both US versions of this ride. However, I have only been on the Magic Kingdom version once. But that was enough to know for sure that the West Coast version is far superior. So without further ado, let's get into why Pirates of the Caribbean is amazing. Opening on March 18th, 1967, the Disneyland version of Pirates was the last attraction that Walt Disney personally worked on before his death on December 15th of the prior year. He never got to see it open, but he worked so hard to make sure this ride transported guests to a world they had never experienced before. Most people don't know, but the popular movie franchise actually got its start because of this ride, not the other way around, in case the timeline of things didn't really make that obvious. The ride was originally designed as a walk-through wax museum attraction, but with the success of the boat ride concept in It's a Small World at the 1964 New York World's Fair, it was decided Pirates of the Caribbean, you know, a ride about pirates on the ocean in boats, would be a boat ride. If you want to know more about the history of this ride, you should definitely check out Offhand Disney. He's got lots of amazing and informative videos on Pirates of the Caribbean. But the point is, I just love the rich history this attraction has, and how original the story and concept are. Now let's talk theming. Considering the fact that New Orleans Square is one of the best, if not the best themed areas in any US Disney park, it only makes sense that the exterior facade of Pirates should be just as good. Seeing as it's one of the oldest Disney attractions, it makes sense that the queue has very little additional theming, is condensed, and has no interactive elements like newer Disney attractions. But that being said, the courtyard in front of the entrance is beautiful and really feels like it was once a functioning home with a courtyard at the entrance that someone just decided to put some stanchions in, and I think that makes it some pretty good design. By the way, if you didn't already know, always go in the right side of the queue. It's way shorter than the left side, so you'll make it to the front sooner. But then you get inside and the smell. The smell! Oh, the moment you walk in and the bromine water smell hits you is just the best. Side note, Magic Candle Company has a candle that smells exactly like the Pirates and Splash Mountain water. Not at all sponsored, but big shout out to that candle for making my apartment smell like a Disney ride. Okay, not to mention the air is always significantly cooler inside the building, so making the transition between a hot summer day and a cool interior is like nothing else. The loading area is one of my favorites just because of how simple yet effective the theming is. I love the feeling of watching your boat pull into Lafitte's Landing with the blue bayou in the background. It creates such an air of excitement that perfectly balances the calm environment around you. Oh, God, this ride's great. Then there's the bayou scene when you first leave the loading station. I don't think there's another scene in any other Disney ride that makes me feel like the bayou scene does. So calm, the sound of the water lapping against the boat with the quiet din of people enjoying a meal at the restaurant nearby. Then the gentle plucking of banjo strings comes into focus, and you see a dimly lit shack sitting over the bayou. Wow, okay, the more I talk about these scenes, the more I realize I just love the design of every scene. But the bayou scene and the mermaid cave scene, and that's what I call it, I don't know what else it'd be, the mystical dead guy cave, I guess? I don't know. Those two are my favorites. I seriously will listen to the soundtrack from this area of the ride on loop while I'm trying to get work done because it's just so calming and ethereal and... Okay, I'm spending too much time on design, so maybe I'll just make another video about the theming in this ride later. Who knows? The story of this ride has been such an enigma for most of its life. Nobody really knew what the official plot of the ride was for the longest time. Are we experiencing the old man from the shack recounting his life as a pirate? Are we watching a pirate's life backwards? This was actually clarified in 2018 with the reopening of Pirates after refurbishment that added Red the Pirate, as well as this scene with a pirate transitioning from skeleton to living, breathing pirate. A video about the updates confirmed that the first half of the ride depicts pirates in death surrounded by their vices, failures, and victories, with the second half showing them as they were in life.
The first act is showing them after they passed away from greed, and the second act is told how they were in their living years, the lifestyle they lived, looking for treasure.
And this is such an interesting take on the story conceptually. I don't think I ever would have come up with this as the idea for a pirate-themed attraction. What if they had gone with showing us the pirates in life and then in death at the end of the ride? Like, imagine just ascending the final lift hill surrounded by skeletons and quiet waves. Spooky. But this way we experience their deaths first and have much more appreciation for their lives as we enter the second half of the ride. Plus, it makes more sense that is a motif in this ride, since it seems like the dead men are recounting their glory days. But story details aside, there's something important that Disney's Imagineers, then known as WED Enterprises, did when they designed this ride. Now, I feel like guests can either be active characters in the story of a ride, like first-person point of view, or they can be passive observers, from third-person point of view. For example, Disney's newest attraction, Rise of the Resistance, places guests right in the middle of the story, to the extent that they're arguably the main characters of the plot. However, on Pirates of the Caribbean in Disneyland, guests are just watching the world happen around them. My last criterion for deciding the excellence of any ride or attraction is the Ataka factor, or rather the "is there a cute animal" factor. And I'm happy to report that yes, there is a cute animal. If you've stuck around until the end of this video, let me just say thank you. These times are really, really weird, and making Disney videos is one of my favorite things to do to take my mind off the world. If you like this video, then please leave a like and let me know what you love about this ride in the comments below. If you hated this video, then subscribe anyways, and consider it an investment in my future videos only getting better. Until next time, stay safe and wash your hands.